Hello everybody, this is Count Christo and this is a multiplayer after action report. I'm going to start doing these when I do streamed multiplayers, I think, just to tell you what happened and give you an idea how the multiplayer went and what I did wrong, what I did right, what my enemies did, what they did wrong, what they did right, and that kind of thing. I think it could be fun. So as you can see, this is a rather interesting world we find ourselves in. This was a 1v4 game. I played as the German Reich and the French, British, Soviets and United States were all arrayed against me. I had my friend Cody, who was helping me play Germany. He usually microed one front while I microed the other one, that kind of thing. There were very few rules on this multiplayer. You were allowed to blob really hard in the early game, which obviously heavily favours Germany, because they have the fascist war goal justification speed bonus. So we went to war with Italy immediately, and then very quickly we ate up all of Europe. Every time the Soviets started justifying on someone in Europe, I then justified on that same person and took them over. Our blobbing was slowed when we declared war on Japan to continue being at war with a major, and unfortunately that meant when they formed their Greater East Asian Prosperity Sphere, everyone started joining their faction. So Bulgaria was in the Greater East Asian Prosperity Sphere. If you look at the faction map mode, it's pretty collage. The axis here in the middle, axis over there. The Asian Combine, which was founded by Tanatuva, apparently, based on the colour. and then the Greater East Asian Prosperity Sphere. The Allies managed to lose India and almost all of Africa to the Greater East Asian Prosperity Sphere. At one point, before I was at war with the Allies, I managed to take over all of Egypt and this area, and we took over all of this area. This is all actually German, was once German occupied territory, because the Italians took over Egypt, and then the Italians took over Egypt, and then we naval invaded them before we were even at war with the Allies. There were some hilarious things that happened like that. We had the clear advantage on the tank game. It was a draw. Okay, formally it was a draw. I think I would have won though, because the Soviets couldn't stop my tank push. My most recent tank push in the east was the Soviets just were not able to respond to it. The lines are all a bit mucked up now because right at the end we started being a bit memey when we knew we were going to stop. So you know, this breakthrough wouldn't have happened, and there wouldn't be a push going on down here, and there wouldn't be these silly attacks down here. But so I had just taken this area here off the Soviets with heavy Soviet casualties. Casualties overall for the war, if we take a look, discounting of course the East Asian ones, we've taken 1.7 million. They've taken 2 million between the two of them, more or less, 0.01 lower. So pretty good. I managed to control, as you can see, all of this area before going to war with the Soviets by rushing in. So, you know, we haven't advanced very far, but they absolutely cannot stop this Guderian's 20 tank width ones, especially now he's got this Ranger. He's going to be much more effective in forests. In fact, if I'd noticed that, I probably could have given him, improvisation expert, giving him that extra movement bonus. These medium tanks are fantastic. So, some mistakes I made. Light tanks are not good enough. I shouldn't have made nearly this many light tanks. Even with the tungsten deficit we had, I should have made far more medium tanks. Also, I should have put slightly more anti-air into my tank divisions. These are the templates that I used. It's the medium tank one and the light tank one, very similar. 2 anti-air, 5 motorized, all the rest light tanks. We had some support anti-air, support artillery. Should have taken the support artillery out, actually, now I think of it. That was a mistake. Yeah, but the push in the east was not going to be stopped. Moscow is about to fall, but it's like half midnight now, so we decided to stop. I couldn't push France. The combined British, French, and American troops here, with obviously America having blobbed crazily good because I caused so much world tension early on. Look at those factory counts, insane. The Americans had a very nice ability to hold here in France. French player, which was Adaway, if you know Adaway, he has a wonderful YouTube channel, which you go check out. He held very well in France. He used lots of 10 wits at one point to hold us back. We basically didn't push on France at all. We fell back to the Rhine and tried to focus on pushing the Soviets. Unfortunately, I was really bad at managing the supply in the northern Soviet region, and instead of doing the logical thing, which is just move south a bit and then carry on pushing, what I did was I decided to go over, having not pushed right away, and try and push France, which went really badly for a while. And then right at the end, I switched back over to to trying to push the Soviets, and that started going really well. So I think we would have won if we kept pushing the Soviets. At the beginning of the campaign, the 5 hours of multiplayer, I decided to try and do a really low plane investment strategy, which obviously normally is a terribly bad idea, and it didn't go hugely well, but it was quite fun, so I don't really regret having done it. Yeah, so we went for lots of anti-air and no CAS. I didn't build a single CAS, which made it incredibly difficult at various points to do anything, because the lack of CAS just makes it so difficult to push against a determined defense. But we were managing it in the east, and of course once the Soviets fell and I could divert all of these troops over onto this front, I mean, the Soviets wouldn't even have to fall. We just have to encircle and destroy enough of their men that they were no longer a serious threat. And if I could reposition these men, because let's look, excuse me, thank you. How many men do we have on the Soviet front right now? This is 183 divisions. And over here on the Allied front, we had 120. So I could more than double my troop count over here on the Allied front by taking out the Soviets. And they were crumbling. I don't know what they're... Obviously it would take a lot to capitulate them. They're at 41%. Yeah, it would have taken a hell of a lot to capitulate them. Let's actually have a look. If we took... Let's see. If we took all of this area... and we pushed into Stalingrad... I think what I'm clicking on right now, we could have had within 4 months, 5 months, probably. Because the tank push was unopposed. Like, it was relatively slow, but it was repeatedly getting encirclements. So let's see. That brings them to 76%. That brings them to 76%, which is quite substantially lower. And then what? What would you have to get to finish them off? Perm, maybe? Let's have a look. So if we actually push them to the Urals, and remember that all the empty provinces are actually worth points. So if we actually push them all the way down here, is that going to be enough? I think you have to wait for a daily tick. Let's see. That'll bring them down to 80%. I think that plus all of the provinces in between might well have been enough to actually bring them down. The Americans, I'm told, let's go and check. This is true. I haven't really tagged around to look at their templates so we could go and judge them. They had a lot less men than I expected, the Americans here, actually. Wow, they really didn't like my tanks. That is a lot of medium tank destroyers. No anti-tank or anti-air in the division. I guess they knew my air wasn't a threat to them. In terms of production lines, they were going hard on close air support and then basically just tanks, looks like. They're massively overproducing infantry equipment. So the USA build-up was very slow. It should have been a lot better. They didn't get rid of their Great Depression modifier for far too long. But what they were saying was, they told me they were going to get nukes very soon. They lied. Maybe it was the UK that said that. Yeah, there we go. So the British were getting nukes in 138 days. That's pretty funny. Let's check out their templates. Infantry division. What is this? Line artillery in the infantry division. What are you doing, England? That's a terrible idea. I guess England was going... Yeah, they have very few divisions. They're going extremely hard on plane production, I have to imagine. Yeah. Not many factories on England. England and USA not switching ideology was, in my mistake, a big mistake that the Allies made. Let's have a look at France. Tech-wise, they were going hard on piercing, it looks like. They did get mediums unlocked. Interesting. I don't think they built any. I don't know why he did that. Is this your main infantry? Looks like. It's pretty good for combating our tanks. That extra line anti-tank went a really long way. Oh, he did almost get some tanks out. Or did he? Does he have some in the field? Yeah, he got 2. And was the tank division good? No, that's terrible. Okay, I'm going to have words with that away. This is very bad template. You should be substantially more like this. This is a much better template. You don't need lots of org on tanks. Although I suppose, given that he is a country not taking mobile warfare, maybe this would be excusable. But half motorized is absolutely terrible, especially considering... I mean, he wasn't using many tanks, so you know, it's not as important. But especially having not unlocked this tech, that extra infantry hardness is so important. Let's have a look at the Soviets. How are they doing? Oh my god. The AI has been in control of them for a second. Let's, I don't think, is there any way for me to fix this? Yeah, there we go. Make a new theatre. Cool. So the Soviets, oh god. Oh my god, I didn't realise how thin their line was. Yeah, no, we definitely won. Because everywhere except down here in the south, they had an incredibly thin line. Like up here in the north? Yeah, if when I'd started pushing in earnest, this north would have absolutely disintegrated. Especially since some of their divisions, they were using some weird divisions. Like they had lots of this 2-width cav on the front. They're just harassing me for quite a while. This is very bad. Oh, they were using a field marshal front line? Oh, I'm going to have words with several people. That's a terrible idea. Oh, is that just what I've just set up with this guy, maybe? No? No, yeah, they had a field marshal front line, looks like. Don't do that. Don't know. Oh, no, sorry, the AI has been in control for a second. That's fine, that's fine. But yeah, it's very weak here in the north. All I have to do is repeatedly, like, you put your tanks in one area, you crush in, you encircle a bunch, and then you move somewhere else, and you crush in, you encircle a bunch, you move somewhere else, you crush in, you encircle a bunch. The Soviets were going to implode, I think, without too much trouble from that point on. In terms of production, they went basically no planes. They actually went no plane production, or maybe the AI has mucked with things recently. But they had essentially no planes from what I recall. Yeah, look at this. Absolutely nothing covering this area in terms of planes. If I had CAS, the Soviets would have been an absolute cakewalk. I'm kicking myself now, but you know, what's done is done. If we'd had CAS, this would have been, we'd have breezed through here. The Soviets, of course, should be in a faction with the Allies, so the Allies can base planes directly out of the Soviet Union. That's an absolute no-brainer. You have to do that. Obviously, you can't do that in historical style games, but you have to do that if you want to have a serious chance in these kind of more free multiplayers. What else happened that was interesting in this multiplayer? There were lots of pushes in this region. The Allies got this area, pushed in here, and then we managed to encircle in these mountains here. We, as the Germans, managed to push in here. I think I got about this far at one point, and then I was driven back. There was some back and forth on the Soviet front. I pushed in early to about here, but then unfortunately the supply region here sucks, and all the supply region just collapsed, and I had to withdraw back to this line to fix that. And as I said earlier, that's when I should have launched a really big offensive in the south, but I just didn't. What else? I think that's about it, really. There were some funny shenanigans in terms of the French and me were at war with the Swiss, and the Swiss took over this area, and then I took it over from the Swiss so I could keep it. So I had like this much of the French land. I think I also had this area before we were even at war with the French. Although I did agree to withdraw from it before the war was declared, because otherwise, you know, obviously a tank push starting in these plains towards Paris would have been over extremely quickly. But anyway, that was the multiplayer that we did. Oh, just tagged back to the Soviets. That's not what I meant to do. That was the multiplayer we did. Hope you enjoyed the recap. If you like recaps like this, do let me know. If you want to watch multiplayers like this live, do go and follow me on Twitch. That's where I do all of these. I announce them in the Discord, and if you want to play in these, then do join the Discord. And I ping the Discord when I'm going to be doing a multiplayer in the immediate future. Usually I ping the day it's going to happen, or the day before, that kind of thing, giving a quick description of the rules, asking who wants to play. Do come and join the Discord if you want to get involved in these multiplayers. Tell me my strategies were awful. I know they were awful. Tell me how I could have done things differently. The interesting thing about this one was that the German ability to blob in the early game is totally unparalleled. The problem was, mid-38, I'd conquered all of this, and then I had nowhere to go, because I had no fleet. Maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a case if you're doing this kind of rule set that I should have built a fleet and tried to invade South America, but then how do I hold it? Because I can't beat the Allied fleet. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recap, and if you want to watch the complete campaign, session, war, I guess, the total 5-hour VOD is uploading onto YouTube. It might go up slightly before or slightly after this one, depending on how it goes. Either way, thanks very much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.